what's going on here?
Well, no, come on. God is God. And, He created. I mean, if you're going by what the Bible says, the text says, blah 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 says. My basic sense is that we don't have a clue what God is or what's going on. Right?
That's just the limits of the human being.
Well, we can if we let go. If we become a slave to God, we'll get closer to understanding this. And that's what the burning.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe I should rephrase it. It's
I mean, to put things in a, put
God
things in
actualized.
God is not a human character. He's not a old guy sitting on a toilet on a cloud crapping on people.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I mean, that's just a very limited understanding.
Yeah, but most religions within a textual form are anthropomorphized, right?
Correct.
Because they want to maximize the monetary, because what is liturgy? It's litigation, And when they talk about all the different denominations of religion, they're talking about $5 bills, $10 bills, $20 bills, $50 bills, and Benjamins. That's the denominations that religions understand.
That's a material perspective.
Right.
Which is limited.
Right. Very, very, but that's religion.
But human beings can become what is often referred to as God actualized.
Yeah, and that's a multidimensional understanding of what's going on. But you have to let go of everything to get into that place. And
correct.
And when you have a body, when you have a meat bag, it is very difficult to do that. Right? And so that's, meditation is very good that way because it enables you to disconnect. Right?
Well, that's why I've been able to let go of a lot of stuff because, I think when we first started talking, that's when I got involved with the group that I told you about. So, and it's my being light and less fucking anxious, a lot less, is attributed to that.
Yeah.
And my continued study and other things. But, I'm just chilling, man.
So what's the last thing that you've been studying, that you had enlightenment?
Oh, I mean, I don't claim enlightenment. I stick with the basics. I read my 12-step stuff. I got a really good sponsor now who's a really good reflection of who I am and who I would like to be. Mm-hmm. Some Richard Rohr stuff, The Cosmic Christ. It's a really good book. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of that stuff, a lot of podcasts and stuff that I just listen to. A lot of Ram Dass. Ram Dass has a lot of good things.
What do you get out of Richard Alpert?
What do I get out of old Richard Alpert? I mean, he's just basically the same packaging as a lot of the stuff that I've already looked at. I actually get more out of Anthony DeMello, who I've shared that with you a lot. And he's really all about how you are responsible for your emotional well-being. You cannot take anything outside of yourself seriously to try to create happiness in yourself. It's a dead end. The best way to be is accountable for your own spiritual condition. And I couldn't agree more. Which is why it was so easy for me to say to my wife, you have my blessings. I love you. I choose to love you. This is what you need to do to be happy, and you do it. But rather than hold somebody hostage and be miserable.
Right.
And then I said to her, listen, part of me wants to run off and be with you, but that's dependency. I don't want dependency. I want love. So I won't be happy in Charlotte, so I'm not going, or at least not now, And it's funny. I have statues of saints in my house, right? And I have one of them. He's Saint Alexander. Some people refer to him as Saint Expedito because he expedites.
Right.
And you know, you do magic. You can, you know, with that power, right? It's really a power within yourself.
What that
But
kind of does is opens the space. You know,
correct.
That's all that.
So
It's not even.
so what I
It's
like-
not even idolatry. You know, it's not
correct.
idol worship. It's just
That's right.
a vehicle, a tool
That's
that
right.
you can use to make a, you know, like a crowbar, make a space for your consciousness to enter
Exactly.
into. And so,
Exactly.
and
So what-
and get perspective. And this perspective is within
Right.
the construct of this thing.
So what made me laugh about, I have him, and I was doing prayers and stuff like that, and it just dawned on me, a couple of days ago. I was like, oh, why weren't things moving faster? But I got this intuitive hit just as I started letting go of the whole TV thing and everything. It was a little voice somewhere, not a literal voice, but just something along the mental horizon. Schmuck. It happened already.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, shit. Yeah, it did happen already.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of that old joke that, the fastest gun in the West. You've heard that one, right?
No.
You want to see the fastest? Yeah, it's an old, probably they did it like the Borscht Belt and stuff like that.
Was that the one that was used in Blazing Salad with Gene? And he's leaning against the post, and this guy's his drawer, and he's like picking his teeth, and then you hear the gunshot, and the guy falls over dead, but you don't see Gene, with the gun. He just, he's that fast.
Well, it's kind of a play on that. It's just basically like the guy doesn't move so fast that it doesn't move, and the play on the joke is that there is no fastest guy in the West. The guy just doesn't move.
Right.
So that's kind of how it was being communicated to me. It's like, dude, it happened already, schmuck. You missed it. And I was like, oh. And then all of a sudden, in my, the time lag or the perceived time lag, I get an email saying, hey, we're offering this the scholarship. It's like, yeah, it happened as soon as you let go.
Right, exactly. Yep. And with that,
really
I'm going to say I have to let go because I have to go off to an appointment.
Okay.
I just wanted to check in because I hadn't talked to you in a while. So
yeah, man. No, I'm really happy to hear from you. I'm glad that you didn't have to go under the knife, and
I'm not going under the knife anytime soon.
You got some chicken and porn. That's awesome.
Right. Chicken and porn. I also had fish and meatloaf and ice cream.
So were they just waiting for, they were just like, all right, well, we're not ready yet, and they just feed you?
Well, they took me up there and they put me in this room to put, an ICU room, right?
But why would they feed you?
Well, because what happened was the lady with the lunch wagon came by, and I wasn't on her list, but she was right there, and I said, hey, do you got anything? And she said, oh yeah, I fed everyone. I got 4. What do you want? I have chicken. I have fish. I have meatloaf. I said, why don't you just wheel it in here and go, check out. I'll just eat everything, and the next person will take the wagon out. She goes, oh, that's great. I won't have to do all of that. So it had, a couple of pies. It had all of that and all kinds of fixings and a thing of coffee and a thing of lemonade. And I ate and drank everything. And I knew, and I kind of threw the food on the wall and on the floor. And, and I knew when they came in to get me, they'd see all the food on the wall that did you eat anything? And I would say, of course I did. I ate all this. And then they couldn't operate on it.
You are out of control.
And I was there, naked. I took a shower, felt really good. And that's when the lady, and I had a towel around me. That's when the lady was going by, and I didn't close the door, I kept it open. And she, hey, I said, come in here. I said, and she goes, you hungry? I said, yeah. And I took the food. I said, just leave it there. And I dried myself off, got naked, and got the first plate. And everything was plastic. Nothing could break, right? So when I was done with meatloaf, but it still had man on the wall, and then I went on to the next meal. And then I was sitting on the, when I got up and I sat down, I was sitting on the remote control of the TV, and the TV went on. And every time I moved my butt, there was a different channel, and I, reached around and got the thing, and I played around with it, and I came to the porno channel. They actually had a porno channel. So I put that on and went over and found some nice body lotion and went to work with the door open.
Oh boy!
And people would, some people would walk by and kind of like shake and close the door, and I would just get up and open it up again until the people who came with the gurney to take me off to get operated on found the place covered in food, me masturbating, watching porn.
Wow. So what did they just say? Oh, I think we need you to.
No, they said, did you eat anything? Somebody look at all the food. Of course, I ate everything. And then their mouths were open, and they went out, and then a kind of supervisor came in.
Right.
And I was masturbating, and she came in, and she was like agog. And I said, just wait a minute, I'm almost through here.
Oh shit! Wow.
Because if they were going to take advantage of me to that point of like cutting me open without having to be needed, they just want to make their $200,000, whether I lived or died.
Yeah.
I was going to have fun with these people.
It sounds like you did.
I sure enough did.
So,
And what happened?
Like, how did it end? I just want to know.
Okay, how did it end? So that person ran off and got another higher, more stick in the ass bureaucrat, and they were there, and they closed the door. And by that time, I was just sitting there naked. I wasn't masturbating anymore. And they said, this is terrible. This is unacceptable. I said, sure is. Operating on someone without needing to be operated on, that's pretty unacceptable. He goes, no, the computer code says specifically. I said, screw that. I said, listen, buddy. He says, we're going to get the police and arrest you. I said, good. Go get them, because when they show up, I'm going to say that you physically abused me. You. And I took his like little nameplate right off his body. I said, I'm gonna hand this to the police. And he ran away, and another person came in who was very nice with a person. They said, can you just put your clothes on? We're going to take you downstairs to get your ultrasound. And I said, oh, sounds like a great thing. I did. I put my clothes on. They wheeled me down. They did the ultrasound, and I left. That's how it ended.
Wow.
And now I go back, and because their cafeteria, that food was great. So I went back. I go every time I'm in that town. I go to that hospital, and I walk straight through the emergency room, straight through operating room to the cafeteria, and have breakfast and then lunch for $3. And they have good Wi-Fi, so I'll stay there 4 or 5 hours. And people will come in and have me tell that story.
Awesome.
Yes, it's like I'm like a hero / infamous villain of that hospital.
Well, I'm glad you shared that story.
And so I had to have another procedure. And again, it's a pretty good hospital, but it's falling apart because they're putting in really weak links that cause it to really screw up, right? And so every time I have a procedure, and again, the weak link, the guy who put the computer stuff in hit the wrong key, and the computer said I needed open heart surgery, right? So the next time I came in, the weak link screwed up the everything so much. I went and hung out, and I told the lady who runs she came and got me in the cafeteria and wheeled me up to the person who's going to do the procedure. And what was great was I was scheduled to be done by a person who was a real jerk. But because the schedule got so out of whack by this other weak link, I got the best person who does a procedure. And she did a great job. So So God is definitely taking care of me, but I'm observing the medical scene. It's like falling apart like you can't believe.
Yeah, I kind of get that impression too. When I had my last emergency room visit, and then I just, they were like, "Who's your primary?" I said, "I hate my primary. Give me a new doctor."
Right.
And I was just fucking with them, and they were like, "Well," I said, I like THEREW Hospital. Why don't I just go with you guys? Give me everything under you guys. So they were like, "All right." And then I had an appointment. I went, and to just get the normal, physical. But it's so now like it's like a vending machine.
Right.
You just show up. There's a computer, there's a trolley, and it's just like like what we have out here in the city, City MD, which is my friend likes to call it Doc in the Box.
Right.
Which is actually I like going to that one because you just get the basics. You're in, you're out. You put your insurance card in a machine. You're in, you're out. But for your basics, like you need a vaccine, or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
They're not for any serious. They're not built for that.
Right.
And they're open on weekends, which I think is great because I hated doctors because I don't want to take off from work to get a medical procedure and lose a day's worth of pay.
Right.
Because some asshole doctor isn't available on a weekend. I said, "Go fuck yourself."
Right.
That's actually how I passed up knee surgery. And I'm glad I never got
Right.
the knee surgery because I didn't need it.
Right. And you'd never be the same after.
No. I was, I'm still overweight, but I was more overweight then. My knee was buckling, was acting all kinds of crazy.
Because of the weight more than anything
Because
else.
of the weight. That's absolutely correct. Nobody wants to admit that.
Right.
And I was just like, no, you guys are full of shit.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with my knee. I need to stop eating like a maniac.
Right.
That's all.
Exactly.
And, I'm the bad guy because I know how to take care of myself.
Right.
So,
Right.
and they gave me a cane, and I was like, fuck this cane. Throw that shit out. And then the doctor, I said, "Oh, well, you should go see a surgeon. They'll give you, they'll run a scope. They'll do all
Right.
this stuff." And I said, "All right, fine." I said, "All right, Yamamoto, or whatever the fuck his name was." I said, "Do you open on Saturday?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, then forget it. Then I'm not coming." He said, "Well, we're never open on Saturdays." I
Said, "I'm never coming."
I said, "Well, then stop being a big shot, and maybe I'll visit you."
I mean, that's kind of like me, eating the food when I know I shouldn't have. If I was really going to be there for an operation, same thing. But I gotta go, kid.
I'm absolutely done. Yeah, do your thing, man. Do your thing, man. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it.
Yep. Okay. So I gotta go. I just thought I'd let you have a taste of that, and we didn't divulge any real information. I hope you were amused and amazed. And come on, throw something on the old PayPal.